GearNetwork.com.
The following is a presentation of the Gear Radio Network. You're listening to the Better Live Than Dead podcast on the Gear Radio Network.
And with that, a warm welcome back to the Better Live Than Dead podcast, powered by BetterLiveThanDead.com and the Gear Radio Network. This is episode 182.
182. I dig it.
This one, we call it Sports Always Loves Drama. And
that's right.
I'll tell you what, before we get too far here, want to let you know, I'm Ryan Wolfe at Wolfe BLTD. Joining me, almost as always, Luis Perez at MRLG Perez. Now, Luis, this episode brought to you by PuckLuck.com. Hockey is right around the corner. It is September 1st, 2022 at time of recording. Hockey is almost back, ladies and gentlemen. PuckLuck.com is your one-stop resource for all of your NHL sports betting action. PuckLuck provides win percentages and score projections for each and every NHL game to tilt the ice in your favor. Not sure what to bet or just in a rut? PuckLuck also provides expert picks to get the puck bouncing your way. Please note, though, PuckLuck.com is in no way affiliated with the National Hockey League, its teams, or the National Hockey League Players Association. PuckLuck.com provides data related to gambling and cannot guarantee the success of any suggested or related wagers. As always, please gamble responsibly. And as always, you can hear us on BetterLiveThanDead.com, GearNetwork.com, and wherever you listen to podcasts, whether it's Apple Music, Spotify, the internet. I don't know. I listen to things on Spotify. But anyways, Luis, we love sports. We love drama. We love sports drama. We're here to talk sports and drama because there's some drama. There is some drama that has bubbled to the surface since the last time we talked here on the podcast.
Yeah. You know what? It's been a while since you and I have talked, so I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be back.
Happy to have you back. Happy to be back on the airwaves. I mean, I saw you over the summer. It's still technically it's the summer, but with the calendar switching to September 1 earlier today, it's more like we're looking at fall at this point. I mean, the high today was in the 70s, so we've got some warm days. But Luis, from time of recording, the Buffalo Bills are a week away. Football is a week away from being back. So fall is here.
Well, technically, fall doesn't start till September 22nd. So, everyone out there talking about your pumpkin spice lattes, calm down. No one cares.
That's a fair take. I mean, I don't mind pumpkin stuff like this time of year because my birthday is a little over a month away. So I delve heavy into the pumpkin flavored stuff. But usually for me, I just hit up a local Wegmans and go get myself some pumpkin cheesecake. And usually I'm pretty happy. But this time of year, I usually put on a few pounds simply because every time I go to the store, I'm like, you know what? I really deserve this. I deserve this pumpkin cheesecake. And it's never good. The cheesecake's good. The aftermath, never good.
Pumpkin cheesecake does sound good. However, I'll put out there that apple cider is the superior fall spice. And so that's my take on it.
I mean, you take some apple cider, you throw some clear liquid in it. You know what I'm saying? Get some
that's
vodka.
Right.
Not Russian though, because Russia bad. Russia can GFY.
That's right.
But get some non-Russia vodka. I almost said vodkin. Like, what am I talking about? Am I drunk here?
Okay.
But either way, we're going to jump right into the three big things because we've got a big one that I've been waiting to talk to you about, Luis, for quite some time here because it's only progressively gotten worse in the best way, though, because we're going to talk about betting on yourself. And the big one that we're going to talk about out of the gate, New York Yankees outfielder Aaron Judge. Now,
oh, my goodness.
Prior to the 2022 Major League Baseball season, we'll bring you up to speed here. Prior to the 2022 Major League Baseball season, Judge reportedly turned down a 7-year extension worth $213.5 million. Judge would then go on to sign a 1-year, $19 million deal prior to reaching arbitration, which, because there was a lockout earlier this year, as you may remember, arbitration ended up being during the season. So instead of going to arbitration and trashing Judge and ruining that relationship, which already seems kind of fractured, they signed him to the deal. whatever. So Aaron Judge essentially has bet on himself, and he has responded appropriately. In 2022, right now, Judge has a 296 batting average, 51 home runs leading the league, 113 RBIs leading the league, 312 total bases leading the league, 104 runs scored leading the league, a 1.062 OPS leading the league, and a 7.8 WAR, wins above replacement, also a league leader. Now, we don't stop there. He's the 7th player in Major League Baseball history to hit 50-plus home runs before September, the first to do it since Roger Maris in 1961. Judge is also the 10th player in Major League Baseball history to record 2 50-plus home run seasons in his career. As of this afternoon, ESPN.com has Aaron Judge on pace for 63 home runs, which would be a Yankee record. Now, Lewis, wow, what a year Aaron Judge has had for the New York Yankees. I want to get your take because I know that you are obviously a Yankee fan, which has me so excited to discuss this topic with you.
You know what? Like, first of all, Judge is going to become a very, very wealthy man after this season because teams are going to be throwing him all types of money. Do I want to see him leave the Yankees? No. Do I think he's going to leave the Yankees? I honestly am not sure. I'm kind of leaning toward probably. Let's be honest. 7-year, $200 million range for a player of his talent. That's kind of an insult if you look at some of the other contracts that have been signed in the last several years. And I think he deserves really, really good money. You know, I'm not going to lie. I think he deserves to get paid.
So that's the one thing I do have here in our show notes, Lewis. That's Spotrac, which is one of the best, I think the best out there for in terms of contract breakdowns and market value. They have Judge's market value currently at 8 years, $256,618,232, which is $32 million annually. Now, I don't know if that's enough because if you look, let me see here. If you look at recent contracts signed, let's see. I'm going to look this up because I didn't look it up before the show. There's already rumors out there that saying Judge could be looking more towards $300 million. Apparently, when the Yankees offered $230.5, Judge was rumored to respond with $360 million. So again, they seem like they're far off. But then again, Judge doesn't know the market. But then also, on the other hand, Judge can go out and really ask for whatever he wants because we have not seen a player of his caliber in quite some time.
Right.
But my thought here, Lewis, because we've heard some rumblings before of Judge being unhappy with the Yankees and how the relationship has worked out, because obviously it's much like the Red Sox, what they're doing with Rafael Devers. It's like you have to pay your players. It doesn't matter if they're homegrown or not. You have to continue to put money in their pocket, because if not, they'll go somewhere and go to a team that will pay them appropriately.
Right.
And it never seemed like the Yankees were serious about extending Judge long term. They'll put those offers out there and they'll say, we offered him $200 million, because that way it makes him look good, because they can at least say, hey, we gave a fair shot, But I don't think, and this is my hot take here, Lewis, I don't think the Yankees have ever been serious about re-signing Aaron Judge long term.
Well, if you look at the Yankees in recent history, a lot of the times they don't seem to be serious about signing really good players, period. Like DJ LeMahieu had a fantastic season last year, and it took a lot for them to re-sign him and extend his contract and offer him more money. They've been really interesting lately when it comes to wanting to sign players of really good caliber. And I don't know why that is. It makes no sense to me. I couldn't, if I let a player of Judge's caliber slip away, like I would fire my entire front office. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when it comes time to discuss money. I would offer him $300 million easy. But my take on it is this, and you don't see it a lot, and baseball doesn't have to do this at all, but I would like to see players be more like, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I've said it before, Tom Brady, who might take less money to get more better players on the team to win more titles. But a lot of people don't think like that.
So my thought here, and this is what I've had for a little while now, and it's kind of, the rumblings have gotten even louder because this team is not good, and they have not been good, and it seems like they're going to have to blow it up once again. Shohei Otani,
right,
I think, is probably going to be dealt this offseason simply because he's under arbitration. He'll probably command a high number, understandably so. I mean, he's arguably, he's up there, I think, with Judge, and we'll talk about this in just a minute, but he's up there with Aaron Judge in the MVP race of the American League for sure. He's making $5.5 million this year. He's arbitration eligible next year. And then at 29, he hits unrestricted free agency. So my thought is this. The Yankees, like most baseball teams, even the rich teams, are still trying to stay under that tax, the luxury tax, or they try to reset every so often. So, because I can't remember the rules, but I know after a few years, if you reset, your draft picks don't keep getting taken away or moved lower. I certainly think that, like, you look at the Red Sox and they're crying poor. They're like, oh, well, we can't afford to pay for, we can't afford to pay Mookie Betts. We can't afford to pay Xander Bogaerts. We can't afford to pay Rafael Devers. And it's going to come and bite them in the ass here soon because they're likely going to let Xander Bogaerts walk in the offseason. If they don't extend Rafael Devers, I think that ship probably is. I mean, they offered him a deal of like $160 million over 8 years. And that's a smack in the face. Like it's looking, and I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but looking at a guy like Rafael Devers, and you look at the one guy that I think of is the, let's see here. I'm getting it popped up really quick. Where is it? Multi-year summary. I'm on the Braves right now. I apologize. Oh, Matt Olson. You look at a guy like Matt Olson, or you look at a guy like Austin Riley, because he's a third baseman. I mean, Matt Olson also could play third base, but he's the first baseman now. I believe he can play third base. Austin Riley, homegrown, drafted by the Braves. He signed a contract extension, 10 years, $212 million. I think the number starts at that for Rafael Devers. And you're probably looking upwards of like 230, 240 if you want to keep him. Maybe 250 even, because again, he's very, very good. But again, if you don't get him under contract now, you're probably never going to get him under contract. And a guy like Devers, he has 1 year of arbitration left. He's a free agent at 27. He's going to get paid. So you better be the one to pay him. But I digress. Back to the original thought here. My thought is that the Yankees are, again, going to continue to pretend like they're going to sign Aaron Judge. They're going to go out there and say, we gave it our best shot, blah, 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 and tried to control the narrative as much as possible. But I think at the end of the day, we know when Shohei Otani came to the majors, he didn't want to play in Boston. He didn't want to play in New York because he didn't want to play in the big market, the pressure cooker that is New York, the pressure cooker that is Boston. But, maybe he'll realize that the grass is greener if he leaves the Angels, because the Angels aren't good. I mean, maybe he ends up with the Dodgers because the Dodgers get everybody that's good. But my thought is that with their farm system in hand, the Yankees will probably make a very strong run at Shohei Otani. That's just my feeling. Because here's the thought I have, Lewis. The Boston Red Sox are going into a very important offseason where their payroll, they're going to have 22 players under contract at $102 million. This year, they've got 26 players at $207 million. You've got JD Martinez, Nathan Eovaldi, Enrique Hernandez or Kike Hernandez, Michael Wacha, Rich Hill, and then a couple other smaller names hitting free agency. So you've got a lot of money coming off the books right there. That's $19.35 million for JD, 17 for Eovaldi, Devers is at 11.2, but will probably go up much higher than that. Kike is $8 million. Michael Wacha is $7 million, although I wonder if they try to re-sign him. Either way, there's a lot of money left out there to spend for the Boston Red Sox. They need, at this point, a slam dunk offseason, because while it's been reported that Heimblum and Alex Cora are going to be coming back together next season, I'm starting to wonder if those seats aren't getting a little hot just simply because the Red Sox have underperformed. Now, last year, their run to the ALCS, that really helped them. That was great. That's awesome. But looking at that, looking at the situation, they definitely need to spend some money and go out and get some good players, because at this point, your outfield of Kike Hernandez, I completely blanked on his name. You've got I'm just looking at all these people here. I got overwhelmed there for a second. I'm sorry. Alex Verdugo, that's the name I was looking for. You've got Kike Hernandez, Alex Verdugo. You're trying to fit in Franchi Cordero. You're trying to fit in Jarren Duran, who is struggled. Tommy Pham, 34 years old. He's coming back next year. He's got $6 million on his contract, 1 year left. So like, you can go in and fit Aaron Judge anywhere, and not to mention you need a new designated hitter. So again, it's I think the Red Sox go hard for not for JD Martinez. They go hard for Aaron Judge, shockingly.
Okay.
And then the Yankees will say, "Oh shucks," and then go out and probably spend the proper amount of capital for Shohei Otani if he wants to come to New York, because again, Otani is amazing. We know that. Last year he won the MVP. This year, I know Aaron Judge has got the home runs and he's got the power and it's sexy. But let me tell you what Shohei Otani has done here. Last night he hit his 30th home run, becoming the first player ever to have 10 wins and 30 home runs in the same season. He's got a 2.69 average, 30 home runs, 82 RBIs. He's 11-8 with a 2.67 ERA and 22 starts, 176 strikeouts in 128 innings pitched. I mean, come on. You can't really ask much more from a guy who was playing, who was starring on a team that currently, let me take a look here and get the exact number. Heading into the games on September 1st, the Angels are 57-74. Pretty damn impressive.
He's definitely a standout player on that team, and he's easily probably the best two-way player we've ever seen. And $5 million this year, that's criminally underpaid. So, yeah, he's definitely going to make some money next year.
I think my thought process behind it is he'll obviously he'll end up being probably the highest paid player we've ever seen until, someone else breaks that number, because that's how it always seems to work, is that it's they get paid and then someone else goes, well, I'm as good as him. But I think at this point, there's nobody out there who can say that they're as good or better than Shohei Otani, because again, he can go out and throw, 6, 7, 8 solid innings and then go out and hit a homer or two and just completely crush it. And you're like, well, okay, great. Awesome.
Right.
Like, that's fantastic. But then again, the only other two-way player I can think of in the major leagues right now is Michael Lorenzen. And I don't even remember if I thought I heard something about him potentially switching to just pitching or just hitting. Let me see. But let's see. Oh yeah, he also plays for the Angels too. He's pitched, and has he hit though? No. So he's just focusing on pitching. So yeah, again, he can hit, he can pitch, but he's just focused on pitching. So again, like you said, Lewis, we have not seen a guy like Shohei Otani ever. We may never see a player like him again, but then again, you think about it. If there are guys, if Shohei Otani is doing this now, you got to figure 15, 20 years from now, there will be guys who are kids now who will say, I can do that, and they'll be good enough and they'll be allowed to do that, because again, it's a situation where before they obviously shot away. It's much like when we were younger, and like I was younger, you were younger. when they would say, I mean, obviously we're two different generations because you're fucking old. I mean, freaking old. I'm sorry. Had to get that shot in there. I'm sorry. But remember back in the day when they would say like, oh, well, I play hockey and I play baseball and I play football. And then at the end of the day, they're like, okay, you got to pick one though.
Right.
Where now they want kids playing, baseball players, hockey players play lacrosse and in soccer and in baseball and football and basketball, whatever, because that's just the way that sports are going. So I think we'll see more guys like Shohei Otani, but sheesh, I don't know if we'll ever see one like him, like exactly like him again, or at least for a very long time.
Yeah, doubtful. You never know.
So speaking of betting on yourself, ready for this one? Lamar Jackson, quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens, former NFL MVP. Baltimore has continued to balk at Lamar Jackson's contract demands for almost 2 years now. Baltimore reportedly offered Jackson a deal matching Josh Allen's $43 million per season back in 2021. Jackson is reportedly looking to obtain a deal that is fully guaranteed. Now, mind you, since that has all come out, we've seen Deshaun Watson. He has a $230 million guarantee deal, for better, for worse. It's horrible that he's even in the National Football League, and the Browns should be ashamed of themselves, but excuse me, that's a different podcast for a different time. Kyler Murray also received a 5-year, $230.1 million contract extension. Those have certainly kind of gummed things up. Also not helping the situation. Jackson is representing himself in negotiations, says he'll cut off negotiations when the season starts, which again is a week away from the time of recording. Now, Lewis, in 58 games, 49 starts for Jackson, he has amassed a 37-12 record with 9,967 passing yards, 84 touchdowns, 31 interceptions, with 3,673 rushing yards, with 21 rushing touchdowns. He averages 2,492 passing yards, 21 touches, 8 picks, with 918 rushing yards and 5 rushing touchdowns per season. Now, mind you, he's certainly not in the top half of the league in passing, but his style of play, along with that Ravens defense, translates to wins. And obviously, as mentioned, he was named the league MVP in 2019. Do you think the Ravens are walking a very, very, very fine line with Lamar Jackson?
I do. I think they are. However, when it comes to NFL contracts, a lot of times it boils down to what have you done in the playoffs? And what has he done in the playoffs? He's lost. So
I don't disagree. Yeah.
I think he's definitely worth good money because he is a very, very good player. But I don't think he should be demanding more than what he's being offered, because he's already being offered a freaking crap ton of money.
Well, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing to point out real quick. Jackson has taken to Twitter recently to confirm the Ravens did not offer him $250 million guaranteed, which was the rumor. They were trying to push that out to kind of control the narrative and say, we're not the bad guys. He's the bad guy, which obviously
right.
That's just, the price you pay, price to play, or you got to pay to play. That's the word I'm looking for. When it comes to these negotiations, which again, good on Jackson for representing himself. But I'll tell you what, man, that's a lot. That is a lot to do.
And fully guaranteed contracts in the NFL are hard to get. A lot of contracts are based on contingencies and stats. And you have to hit certain stats to make certain money. So
I mean, again, we saw Watson's deal fully guaranteed, but the Browns are just insane. The only other really big guaranteed deal that I think I can remember is Kirk Cousins' deal with the Vikings.
Right. And let's be honest, I don't know what the heck the Browns were thinking giving him a fully guaranteed contract. Like, now he's going to miss 11 games this season, and you still got to pay him for nothing. And the Browns are crazy. I don't know what.
I don't disagree. I think that I'm very much looking forward to week 1 when Baker Mayfield and the Carolina Panthers take on the Cleveland Browns and Jacoby Brissett, because the Browns will be paying Baker Mayfield to play against them more than they'll be playing Jacoby Brissett to play for them. So that'll be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
But going back to your point about Lamar Jackson, I've talked with a lot of people, a lot of friends who are knowledgeable about football. And some people have kind of had pause, because you look at a guy like Josh Allen. I mean, you can't really, it's hard to say, because like I feel like guys like Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen are on a different level. But then you look at what Lamar Jackson does, who's out there doing what he does at such a continuous clip? I mean, you've got, again, looking at a guy like Kyler Murray. I mean, I'm just trying to, let me get his stuff popped up here really quick. I think Kyler Murray kind of held the Cardinals hostage this offseason, and the Cardinals caved in and were like, yeah, well, we'll do it. We'll do it. We'll keep you. But record aside, I mean, looking at Lamar Jackson compared to Kyler Murray last year, Lamar Jackson, well, he didn't play a full season. In 12 games, he had 2,800 passing yards. But the year before, when they went 11-4, he had 2,700 passing yards. Then you've got Kyler Murray has almost 4,000 passing yards in each of his first 3 seasons. He has more passing yards than Lamar Jackson. But then also rushing. I mean, he rushes a little less. Lamar Jackson rushes a little more. But I think a lot of his success in Baltimore has to do with the defense. There's no doubt that Lamar Jackson is a talent, and he will be a good quarterback for somebody, because again, after the season, he's an unrestricted free agent. The Ravens can hit him with the franchise tag. Thank you. And try to keep him. But I don't think this situation gets any prettier unless Lamar Jackson is putting pen to paper on a long-term contract extension, because again, we know Twitter's Twitter, but Lamar Jackson did recently also go on, after he confirmed that the Ravens did not offer him the guaranteed money. He then went on to like a tweet featuring himself photoshopped in a Miami Dolphins jersey. So again, little gamesmanship going on. But I mean, if I had to bet going into this season, I would probably put odds on, it could just all be, again, a bargaining tactic, but I would put more odds on Lamar Jackson not re-signing than Lamar Jackson signing long-term with the Ravens at this point.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that.
So now I want to move to something really quick before we go to a commercial break. Well, actually, you know what? Because we kind of went long here. Let's shake things up a bit. Let's take a commercial break after the first of the 3 big things, because the third of the 3 big things, not super long. So I'm breaking the fourth wall down. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll have more of the Better Live Than Dead podcast right after this on the Gear Radio Network. And we welcome you back to the Better Live Than Dead podcast. We're here with the second and the third of the 3 big things. First off, Lewis, our second of the 3 big things. A few weeks ago, UFC 278, UFC announced that the Gronkowski family would be doing the UFC version of the Manning cast, which is incredibly fitting because, again, the Gronkowski family just seems right for that.
Yes.
So we heard during the telecast, when Dana White, UFC President Dana White, joined the broadcast, Dana White revealed that he himself worked a deal to get Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski to the Las Vegas Raiders. Quote, "It was almost a done deal, and at the last minute, Gruden blew the deal up and said he didn't want him. All hell broke loose. It was crazy. Brady was already looking at houses. It hasn't been said yet that Gronk was coming, so Las Vegas would have had Brady and Gronk the year the Bucs won the Super Bowl, except Gruden blew the deal up." Gronkowski responded, quote, "And Dana, that's exactly what happened." Now, first off, Lewis, we have that part of the story. But then we go back in time, looking to Tom Brady's 2021 appearance on HBO's The Shop, when Brady dropped his infamous line, quote, "One of the teams they weren't interested at the very end. I was thinking, quote, you're sticking with that motherfucker." Turns out that guy could have been Derek Carr. Awkward. Very awkward.
Very awkward.
Now, mind you, Derek Carr, he is 57-70 in 127 career games with the Raiders, but he is statistically the best quarterback to come out of the 2014 NFL draft. He's averaging 3,963 yards per season, 24 touches, and 11 interceptions to go along with that. And his record, the record overall with Vegas has improved over the last 4 seasons. They went 4-12 to 7-9 to 8-8 to 10-7. So they're getting better progressively. It seems like they're finally figuring things out. I don't think Derek Carr is a bad quarterback, but Lewis, what would the Las Vegas Raiders have looked like with Tom Brady under center?
First of all, let me just say, I can't picture it in my mind. It's fuzzy seeing him in the black and silver. That'd be very, very weird. I could see Gronk. Like, I could definitely see Gronk being a Raider. He kind of fits that.
I mean, let's be honest, dude. Gronkowski is Las Vegas.
Yeah, right. Exactly. He's a party. That would have been interesting to see. Would they have been? You know what? That would have been a very formidable team, in my opinion. I think they would have done really well. They might have even won a chip.
I mean, it's interesting because I mean everybody wanted Brady. We heard about recently the controversy, which I actually had forgot to drop in here because there's more to that story. Let me see here. Find. Yes, here we go. So this was, what was it? August 2nd. So a month ago, the NFL disciplined the Miami Dolphins after investigation found they violated the policies relating to the integrity of the game. Excuse me. According to the National Football League, quote, the investigation conclusively established violations of the anti-tampering policy on 3 separate occasions. In 2019, the investigation found the Dolphins had, quote, impermissible communications with quarterback Tom Brady in 2019 and 2020 while he was under contract with the Patriots. The investigation found those communications began as early as August 2019. Discussions were conducted by Bruce Beal, the Dolphins vice chairman and limited partner, who kept Stephen Ross, the owner, and other executives informed. The investigation went on to find that during and after 2021, the Dolphins again had impermissible communications with Brady and his agent while he was under contract with the Buccaneers. Then in January 2022, the Dolphins had, quote, impermissible communications with Don Yee, the agent for New Orleans Saints ex-head coach Sean Payton, about having him become Miami's coach. So there were rumors. Apparently, it said here, too, according to the National Football League, Miami did not seek consent from New Orleans to have these discussions, which occurred before Coach Payton announced his decision to retire as head coach of the Saints. So, again, they lost draft picks, they got fined, and Stephen Ross has been suspended for a handful of time. So Tom Brady's been involved in a lot of drama throughout his football career. But I got to say, Lewis, that's one of the best because there were rumors that like Brady was going to retire and go to the Dolphins front office. And then Sean Payton was going to become the head coach. And then Brady all of a sudden was going to unretire and become the starting quarterback for the Dolphins because like Brady was going to own part of the team or something. It'll come out in a book someday, I'm sure. We'll get all the rumors and just like based on Brady leaving the Patriots, that alone can probably be a book within itself. But looking back on it, I don't know that anybody could have caught lightning in a bottle like the Buccaneers did with Brady in his first season.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely not. I mean, that was just, first of all, the Dolphins seem to be involved in a lot of drama, especially now with the whole, right. But I mean, not, like you said earlier, with Lamar Jackson liking a photo of him photoshopped in a Dolphins jersey.
Yeah, they better be careful because if they find out anything about that, the NFL might continue to suspend and be mad about it. I don't know.
Tom Brady, I can't see Tom Brady in a Dolphins uniform more than I can see him in a Vegas uniform. I think either one of them.
We've had a lot of those this year where you see a guy in a jersey, like the first time we saw Peyton Manning in a Broncos jersey, or the first time you see Russell Wilson, Russell Wilson in a Broncos jersey. You're just like, this feels awkward. But
it feels awkward.
Yeah, it definitely feels awkward. But again, it's at the end of the day, sports are a business.
They
and
are.
That's the business.
Yeah, I was literally about to say that.
Like it never changes, man. It's always the same, and it's a tale as old as time, right? The Beauty and the Beast, and also professional sports.
That's right. And we love the drama.
We always love the drama, man. Also, moving on to our third of the three big things, our fast football predictions. First off, gotta mention earlier today, the Denver Broncos and Russell Wilson, let's ride, have reached an agreement on a 5-year, $245 million contract extension that includes $165 million guaranteed. Again, as we all know now, Wilson was acquired by the Broncos in a blockbuster trade with the Seahawks. He's now under contract with Denver for the next 7 seasons and $296 million. So again, Wilson got an extension that pays an average of $49 million a year. Holy crap. Sign me up for that.
Yeah, absolutely, for real.
But either way, Russell Wilson, pretty good quarterback.
Yeah, he's not bad.
So looking at other quarterbacks, the one question I want to ask you here, I know you hate the Steelers, Lewis, but the Steelers are rolling into the season with Mitch Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph. Rudolph has played in the NFL. Trubisky has played in the NFL. Looks like Trubisky is going to be the starting quarterback for the Steelers to start off with. But Pittsburgh took Pitt quarterback, Kenny Pickett, very cute. The draft pick, not the quarterback. I don't know if he's cute or not. I haven't looked at him enough, I guess, to say whether he's cute or not, but I guess that's my homework assignment for the week. Now, again, this website, it's Sports Illustrated. They say, quote, while we must remember the context of these exhibitions, the poise, delivery, and timing were evident on every snap Pickett took. He finished the preseason with a stat line of 29 for 36 passes completed, 261 passing yards, 3 touches, no picks, and a 124.7 passer rating. So, Lewis, my question for you, how long until Kenny Pickett takes over under center in Pittsburgh?
I'm gonna give it 3 weeks, three games. I'm gonna give it 3 games.
That's pretty drastic. Let me take a look here really quick. Let's see who the Steelers play the first 3 games, and we'll. I typed in. Apparently, I'm an idiot and just typed Pittsburgh into Google and figured it would come up.
No, wow. That's not how it works.
Little shot here. So the first 3 weeks, they're at the Bengals, home with the Patriots, at the Browns. So, I mean...
You know what? Who's the 4th week?
The Dolphins. But then week 5, week 6, Bills and Bucks.
All right, so maybe week 7.
I think honestly, if Trubisky struggles, I think they give till week 9. That's their bye week.
Week 9?
Because they're at the Bengals, home against the Patriots, at the Browns, home against the Jets, at the Bills, home against the Bucks, at the Dolphins, at the Eagles, bye. So I'm thinking that, I mean, maybe if you're going to do it, because here's the thing too. The Pittsburgh Steelers defense can probably win you 7 or 8 games on its own. So the quarterback doesn't really need to do that much. You've got Najee Harris too, who also should take another step this season. The wide receiver core for the Steelers, not great.
No.
They've lost Juju Smith-Schuster this offseason. I mean, they've got, Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson. They've got Pat Freiermuth at tight end. I think he's a good one. But again, I really think that you're just going to rely on your defense. They picked up Myles Jack this offseason. They're obviously bringing back one of the best defensive players, if not the best defensive player in the league, in TJ Watt. So again, that defense is going to do work for you. So it will take a lot of pressure off the quarterback. But I mean, if Trubisky comes out and struggles mightily, it might be sooner. But I think you're probably not on Pickett watch until at least the bye week.
Okay. All right. I can live with that.
But I'm sticking with.
I still think it's going to be sooner.
I'll stick with 3 games for you, and we'll see if Price is Right rules who wins.
We'll find out what happens.
So the big question The big question this offseason, Lewis, has been where will Odell Beckham Jr. land? The rumors have always been Green Bay, the Rams, obviously, because he played, but then the other one, the Buffalo Bills. Von Miller, who says he doesn't have many friends in football, says that Odell Beckham Jr. is his best friend in football, one of his best friends in real life. They've come to that friendship at this point throughout their years in football. Miller was the reason Beckham went to the Rams. The Rams win the Super Bowl. Beckham tears his knee. So he'll be out for a little while, at least a few weeks, I think till October at the earliest. But there's been a lot of flirting between Von Miller and the Bills and Odell Beckham. Now, the Buffalo Bills have not come out and said specifically they want OBJ, but recently Stephon Diggs joined in too. So the Buffalo Bills have a pretty formidable wide receiver core this season. Looking at it right now, they've got Stephon Diggs, their depth chart. I'm popping it up right now, even though I know it by heart. I don't want to be wrong here. You've got Stephon Diggs with Gabe Davis opposite Stephon Diggs and Isaiah McKenzie in the slot. You've then got Jamison Crowder, ex-New York Jet, who's your number 4. And then you've got Khalil Shakir, who is the 5, but he's very talented out of Boise State. He's a rookie, but he has shown up and shown out in not only in camp, but in preseason this year. So he might get an opportunity. So again, you have to think about it. If you're bringing Odell Beckham Jr. in, you're probably, it's depending on, I think, if Isaiah McKenzie struggles or not, or Gabe Davis struggles or not. But what do you think about Odell Beckham Jr. coming to Orchard Park?
The problem with that is how much playing time will he realistically get? He's obviously OBJ, so he's going to want to be in there all the time. But like you said, I mean, the wide receiver core right now for the Bills is pretty good. I don't want to make a prediction about what they're going to do this season. However, I believe they may end up in a very meaningful game that could possibly win them a championship. But if they win, of course. But so I don't really know if Buffalo needs him.
I wouldn't disagree that I don't think that they need him, but you get to the point where you can't predict ball. We all know that. You can't predict injury. We know that. So at the end of the day, it might not hurt to bring a guy like him in. God forbid he only plays, slot receiver, which would be really good for Odell Beckham. But I think the Bills have realized this season, we talked about this with John Cimino over on Trust the Podcast, that I think the Bills have realized that while Josh Allen is a very good downfield quarterback, he's a very good quarterback, one of the best in the league, if I may say so. They need to find a way to put talented players in positions to succeed. So they go out, they get James Cook from Georgia in the offseason in the draft. So you get a guy who can run 5 yards and turn around and get the ball. You dump it off to him, and then he creates stuff in open space. They've got Isaiah McKenzie, a speedster, as the slot receiver. You go out and get a guy like Odell Beckham. As long as he's healthy 100%, he can also slot into a role like that. So again, it's an embarrassment of riches, but that's what you want. You want to have a very good, deep team that's very talented. God forbid something were to happen, but I want to move over to some predictions because I know you were saying the Bills might get to a point where they might play a big game if they win. I want to know, who do you have winning the league MVP, first off?
I don't know.
You can't even give me a prediction? Like you can't pull a rabbit out of a hat?
I'd hate to say it.
Okay.
Go ahead. Hello? Oh, I thought you were going to.
No, I'm waiting for you to hate. I'm waiting for you hating to say it.
You know what? Like, I can see Aaron Rodgers because he's going to have to do a lot this year. And if he produces, I can see him winning the MVP. I can see Dak Prescott. I can see Josh Allen. There's several that I think are very real possibilities to win the MVP this year.
Aaron Rodgers said he took ayahuasca and they made him realize things. Have you ever taken ayahuasca? It's a white person thing, I think.
I don't like Aaron Rodgers, first of all.
I mean, could you imagine taking a drug and just like getting naked in the desert and just freaking out? Like, I don't want to do that.
No, I don't want to do that.
I think the league MVP, selfishly, Josh Allen. There's a lot of pressure on him this year to take that next step after last year's loss against the Chiefs. He's got the spotlight on him. He's going to have to perform. And if the Bills win, 13, 14 games, there's no reason why he shouldn't win the MVP, in my opinion.
I can agree with you there.
Now, pressure's on, Lewis. Last thing before we wrap up the podcast, who's making it to Super Bowl 57? Right now, the Buffalo Bills are currently 6-1 favorites according to Caesar Sportsbook. Lewis, prediction time. Who you got? Who's winning it?
Okay. So, good God, I'm going to hate myself for this. I got the Buffalo Bills going, and I have the Buffalo Bills winning.
Who are they playing?
It doesn't matter.
Fair enough. I like it. I thought you were going to say, I hate it. I'm going to say the Pittsburgh Steelers because literally every time you mention the name Pittsburgh Steelers on the podcast, you damn near have a stroke. But I'm going to go with the popular pick that I've seen a lot. The Buffalo Bills taking on the Dallas Cowboys, with the Buffalo Bills winning the Super Bowl, because at this point, they are the favorite to do it. I've been alive when the Bills have been in the Super Bowl, but I can never cognitively remember.
If that's I didn't want it to be like, of course you were going to say the Dallas Cowboys.
I mean, the Dallas Cowboys have been terrible since I've been able to watch football, but then again, the Bills have too. So I think that to save jobs, to save kind of a mini blow up in Dallas, they have to make it far, because I don't think Mike McCarthy survives another season, even if they do really good. If they don't have a deep run, I don't know that he survives. But I think that, their offensive line is not going to be helpful. So Zeke's going to have to pick up a little more of the load. But a popular pick has been Bills and Cowboys, with the Bills winning the Super Bowl. God damn it, I hope so. Knock on wood, pray to my lucky stars, because I'm ready for it. I'm ready for the Bills to win the Super Bowl.
If I'm being completely honest, I don't see the Cowboys making a run like that this year. Like, they're like you said, their offensive line is not as good as it used to be. They lost some key players in defense. They definitely lost some key players, wide receiver. So I don't know what they're going to do this year.
So what I think,
Dak Prescott, awesome.
Well, I was going to say that if my prediction comes to fruition with the Cowboys and Bills making the Super Bowl, Dak Prescott will probably have to be the league MVP.
Have to be, period.
So you're talking probably 5,000 plus yards, because again, it's an 18 game season or 17 game season. I'm sorry. So you're probably talking 5,000 plus, maybe 45 to 50 passing touchdowns, like something completely outrageous, essentially for Dak Prescott. So I'm thinking that if the Bills and the Cowboys play in the Super Bowl, it's either going to be Allen or Prescott as the league MVP. But with the Bills getting deeper on defense with Von Miller, he's been working with Greg Rousseau and all of the defensive ends, the defensive tackles this offseason. The Bills offense is retooled. The Bills defense is retooled. They've got a very good special teams unit. They added Sam Martin after cutting Matt Araiza, which we have not talked about yet, but that is that man should never play professional football again in his life, because that is just absolutely atrocious what has come out so far, and how his lawyer has acted in a lawyerly way as well is pretty disgusting. But we'll probably talk about that on Trust the Podcast at some point in time. But either way, the Bills have Sam Martin as their punter. They got Tyler Bass back. Again, you've got Khalil Shakir. I don't know if Isaiah McKenzie's going to run back kicks with him having such a big role offensively, but either way, the Buffalo Bills have a lot of talent, and I think that it seems like they build off of things appropriately, where they see it and they go, crap, like the Chiefs are the team we have to beat. How do we beat the Chiefs?
Right.
But also, how do we dominate the rest of the league?
Yeah, the Bills have done a very very good job of bringing in talent and key places that they needed. And as much as it pains me to say, when I said I think that's what's going to happen. I think this could very well be the Bills' season.
Well,
I'm never going to be a Buffalo Bills fan. I'm never going to wear a Buffalo jersey. But
I'll get a Bills hat on you. One way or the other.
But I think this could very well be their year.
Well, hey, I'll end the podcast on that, and I will drink to that. I got a bottle of water here. I will drink to that. So,
nice.
Either way, I am at Wolfe BLTD. Lewis is at MRLG Perez. This podcast kind of didn't have much direction, but it was a lot of fun to get back and talk sports
Absolutely.
and drama. But as always, with that being said, we are better live than dead.
You're not.
We'll catch you sometime very soon. Thanks again for tuning in. And go Bills.
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network.